Obviously, it's a huge honor. That's not an easy list to get on. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm trying to win the Big East championship. So, those I tend to think those individual awards will kind of take care of themselves if you do the right things for your team and try to help your team win games.
I guess you guys came into this week hoping that Sunday would be for first place. Despite the setback, it still is. Does that kind of help with the reset and the goal is still intact, even though you guys didn't do what you wanted to do on Tuesday?
Yeah, even if St. John's didn't have that loss, I still think the goal is intact. At the end of the day, Big East is a hard league, and you can lose one at any time. So we always kind of knew that this one coming up is going to be a huge game for us, and we've been very locked in and dialed in on that. So I think we're going to come in a lot more prepared than we were last game.
Ryan, I know you guys are taking it one game at a time, but this is a pretty big one. Sunday, obviously. How do you balance embracing the moment but not letting it be too big at the same time?
I think a lot of that's just the way we prepared all year has been, process oriented. So win, lose, you prepare the same level of intensity. So when you get to games like this, you don't have to crank it up at all to be more dialed in because you've been dialed in for every game. So just having that preparation for every game is going to lead into us having another good week leading the first one.
What do you expect from that place on Sunday?
It's crazy. It's going to be crazy, man. It's a tough place to play. Rick Pitino and them are a really good team this year, so it's going to be rough.
You guys have seen them once already. What's the key to keeping them off the glass maybe a little bit more than you did the first game?
They're a super physical team, and you just got to match that physicality. They really put in second, third, fourth efforts on the old boards, and so you just got to put forth second, third, fourth efforts and boxing them out. So it's just matching that intensity and level.
You guys watched that game back at all recently to see how you were able to win despite quite a few turnovers and a lot of offensive boards. They've won the math battle, if you will, but you guys still won the game.
Yeah, we definitely pulled up several clips, and more than several clips about that, and we'll be watching more here in a few minutes. And yeah, there was a lot of ugly parts of that game, but we found a way to win. So hopefully we can take out the ugly parts and make it a little easier on ourselves this time.
Ryan, you talked about you just want to win a Big East championship at this point. Is that regular season or is that a conference tournament?
It's both. We've taken the season one game at a time, so obviously it's this next game one at a time and this season one at a time, but I've done neither, so obviously that's a big goal for me for this year.
They shot a lot of threes in this last game, so they kind of bucked their offensive trends in that one, but normally they like to operate in the mid-range area, attack the rim relentlessly. How dialed up is your awareness level considering all the ways they attack kind of that intermediate 10 to 15 foot range?
Yeah, obviously our defense is kind of built to give up that mid-range area a little bit because most teams aren't as good as they are in that area. So just finding little things here and there to make those shots even just a little bit harder because they are really good at those shots, especially Kadari is one of the best mid-range shooters in the country. So just going to make those shots as tough as possible. Obviously you can't take away every shot in basketball, just can make them hard.
Did you get a good feel for it in the last game? Because in the second half you really impacted that area of the floor. Did you kind of get a good feel for where their spots are, I guess?
Yeah, you start to get a feel for where they like to shoot, how they like to operate, and obviously some of those guys, especially Kadari, is third, fourth year playing against him, so you get used to some of those guys and their tendencies, but they're a really well-coached team. I'm sure Coach Pitino is going to have them in there picking a few different spots that they think they can get us in. So we'll just have to be ready to adjust on the fly and figure out how to guard them as we get there.
Two more.
How you feeling?
Feel good. Feeling good.
I think there was a cough counter in the post-game press release.
It's been a cough for a couple of weeks, but we're battling. We're battling.
You guys get what you need out of these kind of 4 days off now after the tough stretch that you went through?
Yeah, it was nice to have a couple more days to prep for this because you don't have to be doing so much in such a short amount of time to prep for a game. You kind of spread it out a little bit and get a little more of a break, especially, a lot of us have been playing a bunch of minutes and there's been a cold going around. So, it was good to have a couple days extra.
Well, I always talk about wanting to play meaningful games in February. They don't get any more meaningful than this one. So We've had a great start to this conference season. The first, we're 2/3 of the way through, and we're right there. Now we just have to finish it off. And obviously, we're playing an incredible team. Last time I played them, I talked about losing 2 games by 4 points, and now what? They've lost 4 games by 7 points on the year or something like that. So this is a team that's not far from being one of the top couple teams in the country in the rankings for good reason. Their defense is elite, and obviously they're playing with a lot of confidence right now.
What is it about their tenacity with going after the ball, whether it's trying to create turnover, trying to get possession for themselves on the opposite aspect? It's harder to get through to your guys until they experience it.
Yeah, it's just, they're really versatile, really across the lineup. They've got a lot of length and size, and RJ Kadari, Aaron Scott, those guys are all 6'6", 6'8", with good length. And then Zuby's playing, is having the best year of his career in there. And they bring a couple guys off the bench that kind of give you the same thing. So it doesn't really matter who you're guarding. You've got to be ready to guard the dribble. They're going to be very disruptive defensively, on the ball, off the ball. And then when the shot goes up, that's when the game starts. And, we've been the best team in our league at defensive rebounding all year long, and it's going to need to it has to happen on Sunday for us to be in the game.
How does Smith being out kind of change things for them and for you?
We played against him the first time. Obviously, defensively, he was really disruptive on the ball. He's hard to screen because his center of gravity is so good. He's quick, he's strong, and he's one of their better three-point shooters. So obviously, you take a guy to your lineup like that, it has an impact. But they've also played some games without him and played very well.
What's it take to win the Garden on a Sunday?
Yeah, you got to handle your business. It's a game that we can't turn it over, and if we do, it can't be live ball that leads to points. And then we've got to win the free throw battle somehow, and then we've got to survive on the backboards. And if we do that, we'll be in position, even like we were against UConn. It was a tie game with 2 minutes to go, and St. John's was in a very similar situation against Nova. They had the lead inside the last minute, and we've won our fair share of those close games this year, as have they. I'm hoping that we can be in a position the last 5 minutes to try to pull one out of there.
From a defensive standpoint, the contrasting styles, how much is that kind of keeping you up, considering they like to take the shots that you want teams to take?
I don't know if they like to take them as much as they did last year. Although Kadari's numbers since we played him have really gotten into the elite level in the mid-range. RJ's always also been decent at that. But, we also pulled Kalkbrenner a little bit higher in that last game, and he was able to get a piece of some of those shots. It's 2 very different types of defenses. The good news for us is we've seen probably the other 2 teams in our league that pressure the most in Marquette and UConn back-to-back. So, we've been through a week or 10 days of preparation against pressure. Now, is it the same as St. John's pressure? Not necessarily, but at least you're seeing that aggressiveness on the ball that we had to experience against Marquette and UConn.
2 more.
I know you don't get a ton of time to look back when you're in the grind, but in terms of all the little things that you were kind of on your mind immediately after the game against UConn, when you rewatched the film, how much did they stand out to you? The things that you felt like you could have left.
I thought of the last, especially since the conference season started, I thought we did a lot to give that game away. And obviously McNeely had a next level, incredible game. But, those 4 3-point shots he hit the second half, those shots should not have happened had we done our job. And we kind of got away from some communication and some scouting report things that got lost, and that's 12 big points. And we missed a couple layups, we missed some free throws, things you have to do if you're going to beat a good team. So, but we watched it on film yesterday. We self-reflected on what we needed to do different, like we do in every other game, and then we came down and started getting ready for St. John's.